You have to show the concrete evidence, not the flimsy one about the smile.
Because even in the US, the conservative and liberal justices all agree that the bar to prove this kind of quid pro quo is actually quite high. People with business in front of government agencies, they do make donations, and that's just their right to do so. So other than the smile that the prosecutors allege the property developer had on his face, well, what other evidence was there that the city government increased this floor area ratio illegally? Hi, I'm Ross Fang'en, an American lawyer working in Taipei, Taiwan, and I'm here with Ann Lai, who is an outside counsel to the Taiwan People's Party, and we're going to discuss the recent conviction of former Taipei City Mayor and founding chairman of the Taiwan People's Party, Ko Wen-je. The basic facts of the case is Ko was convicted of a quid pro quo for approving something called the floor area ratio increase for an office building project here in Taipei, from original 540% up to 860% of the floor area ratio, increasing the ratio by about 20%. The prosecutors allege that Ko Wen-je, by doing this, helped the property developer generate about $12 billion Taiwan dollars in additional profit, about $400+ million US dollars. And that Ko Wen-je did this in exchange for $2.1 million in political donations from the employees of the property developer. That's about 60,000 US dollars, all of which was actually transparently reported by Ko Wen-je's political campaign as political contribution. So, and help us understand how this floor area ratio increase could be considered illegal, and that then Mayor Ko Wen-je would have done this in violation of the law when he reported the political contributions transparently.
Firstly, I think there are two main controversies at the heart of this case. Firstly, was granting this FAR bonuses a legitimate exercise of the city government or the administrative discretion, or it is an illegal act? Secondly, where exactly do we really draw the line between the political donation and the bribery? If this is a case of bribery, then what's the concrete evidence to prove the quid pro quo? I think these two are highly debated. Recently, the verdict is already out, and the verdict points out that regarding the highly publicized $50 million NT, the prosecution had absolutely no corroborating evidence other than Excel files on his drive. So this part, the court already threw out the specific charge. The whole bribery conviction was built on $2.1 million NT, which is a political donation, as you mentioned. This is transparent. This is duly reported and then probably recorded in the supervisory authority. But the court framed it as a prepayment of the bribery for a favor that generated $12.1 billion NT illicit profit for the developer. I'll say by criminalizing this, it's actually dangerously blurring the line between these two parts, the political donation and the bribery, and it will be the hazard for the future politician when they do the electoral campaign, when they do the fundraising. So that is one of the thing. And also, from the rational perspective, what's the, $2.1 million NT is a 0.017% of $12.1 billion NT.
So just to be clear, as you mentioned, the prosecutors started out by alleging that in addition to the 2.1 million Taiwan dollar, which was political donation,
right,
that Ko Wen-je, in return for increasing the floor area ratio
right.
Of the building, also received a huge amount of cash as well. But the court decided there was no evidence of that.
Right. So two parts regarding the 15 million NT dollars.
So it's just about $500,000 US dollars.
Right.
So the prosecutor said the property developer gave Ko Wen-je
$2.1 million
in donations.
Yeah,
but they also said that he received $15 million in cash.
That's the prosecutor say, but the court already threw out that specific charge. So my point is, you can see how absurd it is, right? Because what's the politician with their right minds risk 13-year prison and the whole political career just for a fraction of a percent? And then here comes the most ridiculous part. There's no any written contract or wiretap proving the corrupt exchange. So the court has to rely on the highly subjective interpretations so the only evidence that they have to prove this tacit agreement was the fact that the developer chairman was seen smiling when he left the mayor office. Can you believe that? A mere smile was used as the so-called evidence, the so-called smoking gun, to infer the implied quid pro quo for bribery. And you won't find any single cent of the alleged bribes flow into Ko Wen-je personal accounts.
So I'm still struggling to understand this because in America, and I've been involved in politics, and I've been involved in fundraising, people who have business in front of a government agency, actually they make donations all the time. So what's the difference here?
That's why I say when you want to mess up this all together and say that political donation considered as a bribery, you have to show the concrete evidence, not the flimsy one about the smile. If you really want to criminalize, you have to convince the public about what's the evidence that you have right now to show the quid pro quo.
Because even in the U.S., the standard under the Supreme Court case, the McDonald case involving the former governor of Virginia, the Supreme Court, and that was a unanimous decision, the conservative and liberal justices all agreed that the bar to prove this kind of quid pro quo is actually quite high, because otherwise, again, people with business in front of government agencies, they do make donations, and that's just their right to do so. So other than the smile that the prosecutors alleged the property developer had on his face, well, what other evidence was there that the city government increased this floor area ratio illegally? Did the city government have the authority to increase this floor area ratio?
This is also pretty controversial, but I think the defense side, they do have the very strong arguments to prove they do have the discretionary authority. The legal basis is Article 24 under Urban Planning Act of the Urban Planning Act, and under that act is actually saying the city government and the commissions had the discretionary authority to grant all the bonuses in exchange of the public interest. And there is the confirmation later from the Ministry of the Interior. They even confirmed in the very beginning, saying that reviewing all the bonuses is actually still perfectly within the commission's discretion or the administrative discretion. But right now, they denied it. They even, they are withholding this to sabotage the case.
And so there is a letter from the Ministry of the Interior that confirms the city government for a property development project like this, the city government does have the authority to increase the floor area ratio.
Right, in the beginning, yes.
And this letter was specifically with regard to this project?
Yes.
And the letter is...
It's gone.
well, why would the Ministry of the Interior, which is a central government agency, why would they hide this letter?
That's why we don't even believe that, but this is really happening in our country, in the democratic country. They interfere so much in this judicial system, and they even weaponize the judicial system to go after those the opposition parties. Right now, we ask them to issue that again or publicize the confirmation later again, but they use another very dubious, suspicious reasons to saying no, we don't have it, and then we want to keep it. So if they publicize this, I believe a lot of people will understand they actually have some legal standpoint saying that the city government has the discretion to grant all the FAR bonuses.
So, and you mentioned this letter from the Ministry of the Interior, which said the city government had the authority to increase the floor area ratio if it's in the public interest. And you mentioned this commission in the city government that actually made that decision for this specific project, this urban planning commission, which municipal governments throughout Taiwan have this type of commission, which makes decisions on this project. Does the mayor at the time, America, does he dictate to this urban planning commission what to do?
The commission is actually the independent body of experts. So this is actually not made by one person, neither Deputy Mayor Peng Zhengsheng or former Mayor Ko Wen-je. The final approval was a consensus made by all those experts, all those professionals. And then they already subpoenaed all the civil servants, all the testified civil servants. They all stated the whole process was legal. And then Ko Wen-je didn't really involve in any details. They already testified that. So how can you claim, how can the judge claim he really have he has the criminal intention to profiteering someone or benefit some specific party? If you want to prove that, great, prove it. But no, there's any evidence to show Ko Wen-je has the criminal intention to profit some specific party.
So to be clear, you're saying there's no evidence that the property developer paid a bribe to the mayor and said, Mr. Mayor, I'll give you this money if you increase the floor area ratio. There's no evidence of that. There's only the political contribution, which is by itself is completely legal. And you're saying, according to the testimony of the civil servants who were involved in the case, there's no evidence that the mayor told the civil servants or the Urban Planning Commission, you must increase the floor area ratio.
No.
There's no evidence of that either.
No, they take agency, the commission, the Urban Planning Commission has their own autonomy and an agency to make the decision. And this is a highly professional staff. So I don't think a mayor can understand the details and then even or make the decision. If the court want to say you can and then you can interfere of this, please show the evidence. We won't see any evidence here. So the evidence that they show is pretty weak, flimsy.
Mm. So if there's no evidence of the property developer paying a bribe and there's no evidence of the mayor instructing the Urban Planning Commission what to do, what actually is the basis for a guilty verdict?
A smile. Don't smile, you will be guilty right now.
So if there's no evidence that the property developer paid a bribe or instructed or had this quid pro quo with the mayor in return for a political contribution, and there's no evidence that the mayor ordered the civil servants or experts participating in the Urban Planning Commission decision-making what to do, what is the basis for a guilty verdict?
That's why we believe there's a lot of some interference of the court, and the court is not independent anymore. At least it's not impartial. So I think a lot of people believe, and the majority of people, Taiwanese people believe, there's some forces influence the court's decisions.
Well, this is not the only case where people in Taiwan feel this way. So why is this growing, or this perception growing? Because certainly the perception outside Taiwan is that Taiwan now has an independent judiciary.
Right. It's supposed to be, and then I don't think it's really happened in the before. It's only happened in these 2 years after Lai administration took the office. So honestly, I would say we are facing the most serious judicial crisis ever in our history. You can see a lot of double standards, selective justice, disproportionate application like sky-high bail, pervasive pretrial detention, and then disregard of the presumption of innocence. I'll give you an example. In the Ko Wen-je case, they even fabricated the testimony. Can you believe that? they put the words in their mouths that they never ever made. So so a lot of the civil servants in the very beginning, they say it was illegal, but after the pressure and then the stressful, like the situation is pretty stressful, they also changed their mind. So you can see that the prosecutor had subjected to the co-defendant and witnesses with the illegal threats and coercion to extract their confessions.
So the accusation is that the prosecutors pressured some of the civil servants to change their testimony.
There's one life's gone. It's pretty pathetic. It's pretty sad when we talked about this. Hong Zhengsheng, the former deputy mayor of Taipei City, his wife committed suicide.
This is while he was in pretrial detention.
Yes, during the time that he was in the jail. There was once that he was in the way to the court. His wife jumped on 13th floor to her death. And then he totally broke down. The first thing that he shouted is like, why was I born in this country? And then where's your conscience? What's the prosecutor wants my life? And then he even want to end his life to prove that he is innocent. So I think at the moment it shook the country. It's not just about a personal tragedy. It's also about a simple what's happened when the judicial system became so unbearable.
Why was Ko Wen-je and the other defendants in this case held in pretrial detention for so long, approximately a year, especially considering this was not a case involving a violent crime?
About the pretrial detention, there's some condition that we say the threshold that you have to meet to put people in the detention. Firstly, it's about the flight risk, and second one is a collusion, and the last one is about the evidence destruction. So it's actually leave the room for the judges to make the interpretations. So you can see in Ko case how far that they're stretching the idea of collusion. So everything that Ko Wen-je did during the whole process can be considered as a collude with the other co-defendant. That's why he is denied bail again and again.
Another issue of dispute during this process was the twisting of the concept of innocent until proven guilty and accusations of selective leaks by the prosecutors. Could you explain what happened?
Right now, the presumption of innocence right now in Taiwan is a joke. It's supposed to be something that all people need to comply to ensure free trial, because once you leak out all those information, certain information to the friendly media, they can publicize all of this to interfere the public opinion, and they can shape their own narrative. So how can you even expect there's a free trial? Free trial?
Fair trial.
Fair trial. So in this case, no matter it happened to the Ko Wen-je case or KMT staff, you can see the prosecutor keep leaking those information that's supposed not to be to the mirror media, Jing Zhoukan, to publicize and even humiliate those co-defendants.
Is there no redress for the defendants when the prosecutors leak? Can't they go to the judge and say, Your Honor, in America, you go to the judge and say, Your Honor, issue an order to tell the prosecutors to stop leaking information?
That's why it is so disappointing right now. No disciplinary action has been taken against those prosecutors who involved. So even the defense side or the lawyer from the defense side try to argue that there's no response.
Would you say that the judicial system in Taiwan is no longer independent?
At this moment, yes. I think that's, as I mentioned earlier, and it's not just happened to TPP, also happened to a lot staff from KMT last year. So I don't think, people won't believe that the ruling government, the ruling party right now, didn't weaponize the judicial system.
On this point, not long ago, the former chairman of the Kuomintang, the Chinese Nationalist Party, Eric Zhu, he compared President Lai to Hitler, and he was criticized for that. When the conviction was announced for Ko Wen-je held a press conference, and he made a similar remark. What did Ko Wen-je say?
About, he said President Lai has Hitler's desire, but he doesn't have the Hitler's capability. Otherwise, he would be doomed.
Well, my own opinion is I don't like these comparisons.
Me either. I agree with you, like Hitler is probably a little bit extreme. I think the right comparison that we should make in is the president of Turkey, Erdogan. And then, I can see a lot of similarities, a lot of the common things between Erdogan and President Lai. Both of them come from very humble background, and it's being said that Erdogan has felt fundamentally marginalized for 49 years. So when he was in the power, the first thing that he wanted to do is to turn the table upside down. He stepped all over the toes. He purged the court, military, social media, and he even locked up the dissenters, changed the constitutional law to increase his power. And then the way that he justified for all these actions is all about national security. So everybody who opposes him will get labels like, oh, you are the enemy of the state, or you are helping the enemy to invade the country. So you can see the political rhetoric that President Lai are using, or the discourse that they are using, is so similar. It's all about, you are a CCP op, you are helping China to invade Taiwan, something like that. So, after President Lai took the office, the first thing that he did is launch the Great Recall, targeting 30 opposition lawmakers due to the fact that he is governing very limited parliamentary control. But the way that he justifies just about national security again.
But all those recalls failed.
Yes.
The public rejected it.
People are not that gullible these days to fall for that shenanigans.
So what does that mean politically for Taiwan, in your opinion, in the next rounds of elections?
I think right now it's tear people apart. And then right now our society is it's very divided. A lot of us versus them. And we're definitely living in the culture of a demagoguery. And it's never really happened before. Even in the Tsai Ing-wen administration, it's only happened in the Lai administration. So that's why there's a lot of pushback right now.
There's been protests against that. Why are people pushing back, though? I mean, where does it go from here? Are people just going to keep protesting, or?
I think people have hope, or really looking forward to put the end of this through a complete transition of power. And I firmly believe that will happen in 2028. It's not just because people cannot put up with this level of the overreach from Lai administration. I think if the coalition government is likely formed between KMT and TPP in 2028. So that's probably one way to put the end of this.
A lot of foreign experts like to call Taiwan a vibrant democracy. I think that phrase is a bit overused. But what do you say to that? Is Taiwan still a vibrant democracy?
I think a lot of people presume that Taiwan is, because we retain a lot of, we still retain some democracy, and we have done a lot of achievements like LGBT, something like that. So yes, still pretty robust. We have the strong civil society, but you can see since the Lai administrations take the office, it's actually systematically eroding the democratic country, and who knows, it eventually will demolish all of it. So I would say the healthy one, or the legitimate one to me, is that someone in their group will call him out or or ran him in. That's one way. I think we can also take some American experience, like McCarthy got called out by the fellow Republicans. Roosevelt also got called out by the fellow Democrats when he was trying to pack the Supreme Court and then did something extraordinary and authoritarian and anti-democratic. That is how people put the end of this and then just call him out. And people in their group think this is something that we cannot put up with it anymore.
Well, we hope this conversation shed a little bit of light on the Ko Wen-je case and some insights on where Taiwan politics stands at the moment, as well as the disputed or hotly contested issue of judicial independence here in Taiwan. I'm Ross Fang'en, an American lawyer who lives in Taiwan. I've been joined by Taiwan People's Party outside counsel Ann Lai.
Thank you. Bye bye.
You want to mention you don't want to mention what's her name?
Who?
The Sanli reporter.
我觉得镜周刊比较可恶啦，镜周刊比较可恶。
Okay, I just don't like her.
把它录进去。
and I don't like her.
他只是想抽
boyfriend.